Hi everyone, welcome. I'm so thrilled that you're here. My name is Dr. Andrea Ryan, and I want to welcome you to the Essential Oils for Anxiousness, Anxiety webinar that I am going to be hosting this evening. And I am thrilled that you're here for a number of reasons, because I think not only do we get to open up the opportunity to talk about how many different people have challenges with their emotional and mental health around anxiousness, but also give you some tangible options that you can use or tangible solutions that you can use around your home. I'm going to apologize ahead of time. I do have kids and a dog in the background, so that's possible that they are going to either bark or make noise. I've asked them to be quiet, but just as a heads up, I'm going to call out the elephant in the room ahead of time. So welcome, a couple of disclaimers ahead of time. Oops, let's go, there we go. This presentation is not intended to be for the diagnosis or treatment of anxiety or any other emotional or stress disorder. It is for informational purposes only, and it is designed to educate on how essential oils can support anyone with feelings of anxiousness. So why am I saying this? My name is, as I mentioned, Dr. Andrea Ryan. Yes, I am a doctor of chiropractic, but I am not a therapist. I am not a psychologist. I do not have any training in any of this. What I am is a woman, a mom, a chiropractor who years ago was introduced to essential oils, specifically the doTERRA line, and started to recognize and educate myself and research on how essential oils can be used to support both our physical and our emotional and mental health. So through that, I've started to share this information with other individuals. And quite often it's more the physical components of it, because people can attach to that very easily. For example, use tea tree to cleanse out a cut if you've scraped yourself. Use lavender to help you sleep a little bit better. So the physicality of an essential oil connected to a benefit is very simple and for people to wrap their heads around. When it comes to the emotional component, it's a whole other ball of wax, right? It's more difficult for people to make that connection between the two. And admittedly, there's not as much research, although there is some sustainable research out there, which I'm going to share with you in a little bit. And, it's an opportunity for everyone to recognize that this research is at our fingertips, and we just have to take that time to really get into it and dive into it deeper. So what I do hope you take away from this is that emotional and physical stressors to the human body are normal, and they are a part of everyone's lives. There's not one person that's listening to this webinar or that you've corresponded with in the last day that doesn't have emotional and physical stresses playing on their life on a day-to-day basis. I look at myself as a mom where, that alone has been stressful today. It's summer vacation, my kids are home, I run a home business, I have my husband, I have my dog, I have my girlfriends. So I've dealt already with a number of different stresses, both physically and emotionally today, that are common and normal when it comes to how we live our lives. What becomes abnormal is how over time our body chooses to either respond or react to those different stressors. And we can look at it from a physical standpoint in terms of a cold or flu. So for example, if you get the cold or flu, the colds and flu viruses are they surround us in the winter time specifically, but at any time throughout the year. And we can even have the cold or flu virus go through a house, but not everyone's going to get sick, right? Or maybe only one person or two people get sick. So how our body chooses to either respond to the flu virus, perhaps because it is, we're well rested, we've been eating good foods, we've been using our supplements, we've been using essential oils, we've been getting holistic healthcare, we have been boosting our immune system. Those individuals are less likely to have a predilection towards getting the flu virus. However, if you look at someone who isn't taking care of themselves, maybe they're burning the candle at both ends, they're not eating well, they are under undue amount of stress at work or with their family life, they're not exercising, all of these lifestyle choices, one way or the other, are going to either build up our immune system or deplete it. And so they're going to be much more likely to deal with, or have to deal with they would be more likely, to get the cold or flu virus. The same comes with emotional stresses. When we have, there are lifestyle factors that can play into how well we respond to stresses in our lives. And I am going to be very open and upfront when I say that I don't personally deal with anxiety. I have feelings of anxiousness around certain things in my life, which I'll go into. but I'm not going to characterize myself as someone with anxiety, and nor does anyone in my immediate family have that either. So I'm coming at it from a perspective of what I've learned as a healthcare practitioner, what I've learned through my own personal choices to make education and self development and research a priority in my life. But what I do recognize is that there are certain lifestyle choices we can make that can either set us up for more likely, a greater likelihood of having emotional stresses become more of a challenge in our lives, and then other ones that can help build with it. And that goes across. I mean, I'm not just comparing anxiety to a cold and flu, because they are very different, clearly, and one is more ongoing. But if you want to look at a physical standpoint, when we look at different disease processes, a lot of the research shows out there that over 80 to 85% of how we live our lifestyle, 80 to 85% of that most long-term diseases, physical diseases, autoimmune diseases, cancers, arthritis, digestive issues, and so on, are due to lifestyle choices. And the same can come back with the mental and emotional health as well. So we want to take at least some components and look into this and how we can use a lifestyle to impact that. So support of both physical and emotional stressors is possible using natural options. And by opening up to these natural solutions, it provides empowerment for ourselves, knowing that we can self-support our body and choose options that are in alignment with our health values and priorities. By no means am I suggesting that when you start using essential oils, it will simply diminish or take away all of those feelings of anxiousness, or if you have anxiety, but it is a support system that you can use on a daily basis that gives you just one more tool in that toolbox of yours to help support yourself, right? So if there's an aroma that you attach yourself to and that helps you get through whatever the day-to-day stresses are that you are under that give you those feelings of anxiousness or anxiety, then that's amazing, right? Because that can be a support system to help you deal with it. And we're going to talk a little bit more about that in a bit. So let's define anxiety. It's a feeling of worry, nervousness, or unease, typical of an imminent event or something with an uncertain outcome. So again, I personally do not deal with anxiety, but there are levels of anxiousness that I feel. Flying, for example, is one of those components for me that I definitely get anxious about. And what's interesting is that if I fly on my own, or if I fly with my entire family, I don't. But when it's my husband and I flying together and our kids aren't home, that's where I tend to get anxious around that flight, simply because in my brain, if something were to happen, then I worry about where my kids would be at, or where they're taken care of. So that's a personal component of it. I have feelings of anxiousness around heights. I have feelings of anxiousness around presentations and so on. So, me being on this and leading this webinar is something that getting out of my comfort zone. And certainly I had to work through some of those feelings beforehand. So let's look at, if we're looking at anxiety, and clearly this is a webinar about specifically how essential oils can support us through those emotional stresses. What are essential oils? Well, essential oils are natural aromatic compounds found in the seeds, bark, stems, root, flowers, and other parts of the plants. So what does this mean? This means that essential oils come from a plant-based system. So it's simply plants that have been distilled or cold pressed, and they come out with the essential oil themselves. Essential oils have been used throughout history in many different cultures for their medicinal and therapeutic benefits. Essential oils clearly are making a huge gain in popularity. Obviously, we've seen massive shifts with how many people are utilizing them lately. But ultimately, what we do know, sorry, I'm just going to try, get rid of that in the background there. And it's not going to let me do that. That's okay. So essential oils have been gaining popularity, but they have been around for decades, actually centuries in their use. And their primitive use was used more, we're talking thousands of years ago with how they've been used. When you look at frankincense and myrrh, they have mentions biblically. So we know that essential oils are not new. They're not something that have just showing up in our society lately. They have been used for a number of different years. And what's beautiful about this is because of their long-term use, we have a lot, again, research and case studies showing that they can benefit individuals with their health and well-being. So one thing I hear all the time is, oh my goodness, they do smell lovely, but really physically, sure, I can make that attachment to how certain oils can help, but how do they affect our mood? How do they affect our emotions? So our brain is designed to use aroma to either to soothe and protect itself. As we inhale an essential oil, the aroma meets our brain in the olfactory bulb. This is known as the emotional brain. So basically, when you smell an essential oil, or let's even make it simple, a flower, an orange, your mother's homemade lasagna, whatever it is, when you smell that oil, of course there isn't a smell attached to it, but there are little, the actual food doesn't create a smell, but what it does is it creates these little particles that when it hits that olfactory bulb, that's when you perceive the smell, okay? And there's people that have damage to the olfactory bulb or the olfactory area that literally cannot physically smell. And I'm going to talk a little bit about that in a second here. But this smell, when it reaches our olfactory bulb, triggers a series of chemicals. For example, lavender triggers serotonin, which has a relaxing effect on the mind and body. What's cool about this is that we've seen that even though individuals that have damage to that olfactory center in their system, in their brain, they may not be able to smell it. They don't understand what the lasagna smells like or what a wild orange smells like, but the physical and emotional benefits are still impacting their body because their body still takes that up and recognizes how it can be perceived. And we've seen, so there is the benefit of it for people that don't have smell. They can still benefit from essential oils. The science behind emotions and essential oils. So this is where I'm going to geek out on you just a little bit. I love the science behind this because to me, it's not just a pretty smell. There is so much more to it. And when we recognize why it is that an essential oil affects our bodies, it completely changes the game because it isn't just the smell. It isn't just the aroma. It's how is it impacting us? And there are common groups that oils fall underneath. And we're going to talk a little bit about that right now. So chemistry is what makes essential oils fascinating when it comes to their effect on emotions. There are two main components. And if you see in this picture here in the very center, there's a little circle that says monoterpene backbone. So monoterpenes and sesquiterpenes are two different backbones of essential oils. Monoterpenes are 10 carbon molecules, and they can be both uplifting and stabilizing. Sesquiterpenes are 15 carbon molecules, and they can be both grounding and soothing. So if we're looking at this circle here, we have oils on the monoterpenes that are clarifying at the very exterior here. Clarifying, calming, restoring, uplifting, soothing, protecting, and energizing. If we look at the energizing component, those are peppermint, dill, spearmint, and fennel. When we break that down even further, peppermint, for example, they have the chemical makeup of menthols and menthones. Dill and spearmint is a carvone. Fennel is an anthiol. When you break that down further, the functional group is either an alcohol, ketone, or phenylpropene. Now, I'm not asking you to go back to grade 11 chemistry on this, but just understand that there is the science behind this, but they all come from monoterpene or 10 carbon background. So yes, there are alcohols, esters, ethers, monoterpenes, aldehydes, phenols, phenylpropenes, and ketones. And then from there, they're broken in, which are the functional groups. From there, they're broken into the chemical makeup. If you look at under clarifying, basil, cilantro, and corianders, are all linalool. When we look at the uplifting, which is the yellow at the bottom, a lot of those citrus oils that fall in there are limonene. And we're going to talk a little bit about citrus oils right now. So citrus oils are uplifting oils. And again, I'm just going to go back one post here. So these guys down at the bottom here with that yellow color there, you can see lime, lemon, grapefruit, tangerine, wild orange, and bergamot. So citrus oils, yes, the functional group is a monoterpene. So let's go back here. So we have the monoterpene backbone. Then we have that gray, like C kind of shape there that says monoterpenes. So they're a monoterpene functional group, and the chemical constituent names are pinene and limonene. So again, if you go here, I keep flipping back and forth, but we see the pinene. We also see a sabinine, but that's blue tansy as a heads up. Limonene and pinene also come into the different citrus oils. There are a few other citrus oils here that aren't noted. What I think was cool with this is that even though the chemical constituents of pinenes and limonenes are mainly citrus oil, we also have Douglas fir and white fir that fall into those categories, even though obviously those are tree oils, not citrus oils. So it's kind of, to me, this is where I just nerd out, right? So it's me looking at this and saying, wow, the science of this is so very cool, because different oils fall into different backbones, functional groups, and chemical makeups. And based on that, they all have similar properties, or some may have very different properties, but you can start to see how, if we go back for a second here, clarifying oils, for example, are cleansing oils. They're made up of the alcohol functional group. So things like melaleuca, which is also tea tree, cilantro, basil, geranium, those all have cleansing oil properties. If we look at the energizing properties, those peppermint, spearmint, dill, fennel, those are all oils that will help wake you up. Protecting oils, these are the guys that you use for immune support and then creating emotional barriers. Thyme, oregano, clove, cilantro, cumin, cassia, cinnamon. So all of these different oils are supportive and protecting. It's to me just fascinating to look into that. But again, I realize that I'm a bit of a nerd when it comes to things like that. So I mentioned at the very beginning, we're looking at lifestyle choices. I would be remiss if I didn't say that, yes, absolutely, essential oils can be an incredible support system, but essential oils aren't the only lifestyle choice that we can utilize to support our health and well-being when it comes to, more specifically, our well-being. Exercise is critical. There is so much so much research, out there showing that exercise supports a healthy mental state. Meditation is another incredible support system or a lifestyle choice that we can make, and bringing meditation or intentional thought into our daily basis is an incredible way to do it. Rest is important. I cannot talk I cannot talk or bring more light to rest when I see that so many people are sleep deprived. We are a caffeine dependent society. Many people say that they can survive on 4 to 6 hours sleep, and sure, they can survive, but really, are they thriving, right? There's a very big difference between survival and thrival, and our bodies thrive on anywhere between 7 to 8 hours of sleep. And if we're getting too little or too much, it can start to mess with how our body functions on a daily basis. And that includes not just physical, but our emotional health as well. Something I forgot to put in here, but that is really critical, and it's a miss on my part, is nutrition. When we're looking at emotional states, the importance of fish oils and B vitamins and getting all of these different nutrients into our system is critical as well. If our body is constantly being fueled by caffeine and sugar and processed foods, then obviously that's going to have an impact on us physically and then emotionally and mentally. I am fairly clean with the way I eat, and I know that if I've had made a nutritional choice that necessarily isn't supporting my health, I feel it. I feel it physically. I can feel myself bloating. I can feel maybe I get a headache. So I can feel the physical response, but emotionally I can also see it. I may be snapping more at my children or my husband. I feel agitated or irritated. So we can see how all of these different components affect us both physically and then emotionally as well. All right, so let's get into it. How do these essential oils support anxiety or anxious feelings? These are the oils that I really want to touch upon. Lavender, Ylang Ylang, Vetiver, Bergamot, wild orange, lemon, Roman chamomile, frankincense, Copaiba, and peace. Most of these oils, except for the last one, peace, are single oils, and then peace is actually an essential oil blend, which is amazing as well. So we're going to go into each and every one of these. Before we do, functional groups, keeping in mind monoterpenes, they're highly volatile and low molecular weight. They're most prevalent. Most essential oils fall into monoterpene functional groups. Sesquiterpenes are the next most common. They're cleansing, right? So they're going to cleanse there and they're supportive of the health. We're going to talk a little bit about alcohols today, which again are also cleansing, and esters, which are calming and relaxing. When we think of cleansing, I want you to think of cleansing also your emotional energy and your emotional support system that way. It's not just cleansing in terms of, oh, let me spray something onto my counter and that cleanses the counter. They can also be cleansing of your emotional and mental health. Okay, lavender. Lavender is sourced from Bulgaria, and you're going to see a number of areas that are, we talk a little bit about the different sourcing. The reason that this is important to me is because when you are looking at essential oils, you want to know that you're getting the best quality oil out there. Essential oils are everywhere. I mean, I have seen them obviously through doTERRA, but I can go to the health food store, the grocery store, I can't even go into Best Buy without seeing essential oils that are on sale now, which is crazy. But we know that when you're buying an essential oil from, say, Walmart or Best Buy or even the health food stores, you're not getting the same quality oil that you will get when you purchase from doTERRA. doTERRA is incredible. They are the only, as far as I know, and I'm happy to be set straight on this, oil company that is very transparent with their testing. You can see the testing on the bottoms of the bottles. There's a SKU number for the ones that come up from the States. Within Canada, we're still working on getting those SKU numbers into that system. But the SKU numbers that come up from the States, you can flip that over, read that SKU number, put it into the Source to You website. That's Source, TOYOU.com. And it will give you the GCMS, which is the gas chromatography report, or mass spectrometry report that has been signed off by someone. And doTERRA not only does the testing themselves, but they also get it tested by third-party companies. So we know that the oil is in every single oil bottle that has been sent out has been tested. So we know that it is 100% pure lavender when you're receiving that oil. But what's amazing is that they are sourced from all over the world. Why is this critical? We know that an oil sourced from its native habitat, for example, lavender is from Bulgaria and France. We know that an oil sourced from there is going to give a much superior therapeutic value compared to the lavender that I grow in my backyard simply because it smells good. Lavender isn't meant to grow in Canada naturally. You don't find it naturally. So there is a real defining factor here as to the quality of the oil that you're going to get. And sourcing it from multiple sources, it does grow naturally in Bulgaria and France. We used to source from France, but doTERRA is very committed to not over-sourcing a plant so that the sustainability is there long-term. So they have switched now to Bulgaria to allow France to regain its sustainability with that with the plant base and make sure that they are not over farming. So with lavender, we have a monoterpene background, we have an ester functional group, a linyl acetate chemical makeup, and it is a calming oil. This is one of the oils that I will put in my diffuser before I go to bed at night. I like to pair it with frankincense, which I'll talk about in a few moments. But they're just great oils for sleep and for calming. And my 5-year-old Maggie, when we brought these oils into our home, she was about 1. And she attached herself to lavender right off the bat. It's been her oil of choice pretty much for 4 years. And it is great because emotionally, she can also self-soothe and self-support herself through the use of lavender. So if she's upset about something, she will often say, "Can I have some lavender?" We'll put a drop in her hands, and she knows to rub her hands together and simply breathe in that aroma over and over again. And it does help her, manage her feelings and emotions when she's upset. All right, Ylang Ylang. This is another floral oil, as is lavender, and we're going to talk a little bit about Roman chamomile in a bit, which is also another floral oil. It's a very delicate oil. It's sourced from Madagascar. It's a sesquiterpene backbone. So we've had monoterpenes, and here's a sesquiterpene. It's a sesquiterpene functional group as well. So remember, these are cleansing oils, soothing oils, and the chemical makeup is a germacrene D. And again, it's a soothing oil. So Ylang Ylang to me is a very strong floral scent. They're not necessarily my favorite aromas, the florals, but what I love to do is pair them with an earthier aroma. And so I'll talk a little bit about that in a bit, because often with these oils, they're amazing, but they're so powerful. I mean, you really have to look at the concentration of flowers that goes into one bottle. Right out of the bottle, it can be incredibly strong, but as you start to use those oils and calm them down over time, it's amazing to see just how they can be supportive and how they pair so beautifully with different oils and how we can use them to soothe our emotions. Vetiver. Vetiver is a grass oil, and it is sourced from Haiti. It is a very thick, sticky oil, and I love to think of this because it is definitely grounding properties that it comes from. It's a beautiful oil to use at night to help sleep. We joke because it can take long enough to get one drop of vetiver out of the bottle that it actually makes you fall asleep just waiting for it, which is why it's so great for sleep. But I think of these grounding properties, tree oils, grass oils, there's something just earthy about them, and it really sort of digs in. When I smell vetiver, I think about just being out in the backyard in my bare feet. That connection to that oil to me is very grounding. So again, it's a sesquiterpene background. It has an alcohol functioning group. So yes, it's grounding. Again, it's going to be cleansing. And the chemical makeup is isovalencenol, and I think it's pronounced kishmol. I apologize if I'm wrong on that. But the properties there are incredibly supportive, again, to ground people, to make them feel more rooted into their self and rooted into their environment around them. Bergamot. So this is one of 3 citrus oils we're going to touch upon. Bergamot is sourced from Sicily, and you can see that citrus rind around it. When we look at citrus oils, they get the oil that is cold pressed out of the rind. So this one has a monoterpene backbone and functional group, and the chemical makeup is limonene, and it is definitely uplifting. There is not one citrus oil that I don't love to diffuse. They're incredibly uplifting. They just sort of change the energy in a room. For those of you who are parents, I love putting a citrus oil, pairing it with peppermint first thing in the morning, and having it go in the diffuser. You know, we joke saying it's sort of like, oh yeah, peppermint and wild orange or peppermint and lemon are go-to diffuser blends, but they really are. I mean, I use peppermint and a citrus oil all the time when kids are coming down, not so much for summer vacation, but when it's school time and they're coming down and kind of grumpy about heading off to school for whatever reason. Putting on the combination of a citrus oil and peppermint really uplifts and shifts the energy in a room. Wild orange is our next citrus oil. It's sourced from the Dominican Republic. It's a monoterpene. It has both the background and functional group of monoterpenes. It's a limonene chemical makeup again, and it's an uplifting scent, right? So you're starting to see this consistency with that. Lemon is another uplifting oil, of course. It's a citrus oil. It's also sourced from Sicily, similar to bergamot. It's a monoterpene background and functional group, limonene and beta-pinene chemical makeup. Both, by the way, uplifting, cleansing also with this guy. Lemon is one of my favorite oils to apply or put a drop of in my water each morning before I get going in the morning. It's a great way to help cleanse my system and get me going and make me feel like I've got some support on the inside after a night of sleep. All right, our third floral oil today is Roman chamomile. It has a monoterpene backbone. It is an ester functional group and a methyl amyl angolate chemical makeup. This is very much a calming property. Roman chamomile is one of my favorite oils to use with our littles. And by littles, I mean newborn babies. It's an incredibly gentle oil. It is used in a lot of different preparations for everything from skincare to diaper rashes, to grounding and connecting with mom when they're first being born. Frankincense, which I'll talk about in a moment, is also the same there. Roman chamomile is a must-have as far as I'm concerned if you've got little ones around. Because of its calming property, it's lovely to attach with lavender, frankincense. Ylang Ylang is also lovely, and it's just, there's so many neat little properties there with how it functions and how it can be supportive of both emotional and, again, physical health. All right, frankincense. Oh my goodness, the king of all oils. This is one of my favorite oils for its story on where it's sourced from. It comes from Somaliland or Somalia. And when doTERRA was first setting up the agreements with the farmers and the harvesters there in Somaliland, they wanted to ensure that these individuals were being paid a proper fare, as with any, or wage, I should say, not fair, a wage as with any of their sourcing partners around the world. And what was really important with doTERRA is that they created the connection to be able to pay directly to the individuals that were doing the work. Before, there was always a middleman and some of that money would disappear. So when doTERRA set up those partnerships there, they made sure that they were a great partnership. The individuals were making the money, and also doTERRA came in and started to build schools that not only the men could go to, but that for the first time ever, girls were able to attend school in these regions, which just from a personal standpoint makes my heart very, very happy, because I just think it's something so powerful about making sure women get a great education regardless of where they live in the world. So frankincense has, oh, and a side note with that, every time I buy a bottle of frankincense, which I do a lot because I love frankincense, I will utilize that oil, and knowing that every time I buy a bottle of it, there's a certain percentage of that goes back to supporting the education of girls in Somaliland. So it is a monoterpene backbone and functional group. The chemical makeup is alpha-pinene, and it's a renewing property. Physically, we see this all the time with cellular health. We know that it renews healthy cells, your skin cells, liver cells, brain cells, stomach cells, everything. Frankincense is so great with the renewal of healthy cells. But then again, emotionally, it has renewal properties. So it's a beautiful oil to put into your diffuser at night. I love it because it just sort of helps me go to bed with a sense of ease and calm, knowing that the day will be new the next day, and that I'm kind of like, you know, putting behind the day that was and looking forward to and planning for the next day. Copaiba, this is a newer oil from doTERRA. This only came out last September. We were very excited to see this come. It's sourced from the Amazon. It is both sesquiterpene in their backbone and functional group, and it's a caryophyllene chemical makeup. It's incredibly soothing in its properties, not just for emotions, but also for physical health as well. It's an incredible pain deterrent, and really affects the nervous system in magical ways. So recognizing that it is an incredibly powerful oil, they sold out of Copaiba when it was announced within 2 months, I think. I don't even know if it took that long, within a few weeks, because so many people were excited about it. It's sourced from the Amazon, right out of the trees, and I know that it's played an incredible role in my emotional support, physical support. Every single day I do a drop of Copaiba on the back of my thumb, and I put it at the roof of my mouth, simply along with frankincense, simply to kind of start the day, and I feel like I'm well supported with my nervous system and emotional health there. All right, last essential oil or blend that we want to talk about is Peace. This is specifically the reassuring blend. It was named after, or it was sort of thought up after, the Peaceful Child blend, which has been around for decades. It's a blend of, this will shock you of course, vetiver, lavender, ylang ylang, frankincense, and then a few other oils like clary sage, marjoram, labdanum, and spearmint, all there to support our emotional system by alleviating feelings of fear, worry, and anxiousness, and replacing them with peaceful contentment. This is one of my all-time favorite essential oil blends. I absolutely love it. My kids love it. It's such a great blend to have on in the background if there is that sense of fear or worry or concern in your life, whether it's in a diffuser or you're applying it topically to your body. It's just, it really is a lovely essential oil blend. And it's, the beauty in it is that because it's a blend, they've sort of taken the benefits of all these different essential oils that are single oils and put them in one blend, which I just think is pretty amazing. All right, we talked about a little bit about research, so let's look at this for just a second. Ylang Ylang calms and relaxes the mind and body. This was a 2006 study that showed when they looked at a number of different subjects, they could see that yes, in fact, it does have an impact on both spiritual or mind and body health. Lemon reduces anxious and sad feelings, as does clary sage, which of course is in the Peace blend, when used aromatically, and this came from the NCBI website. Chamomile, there are Roman and German chamomile, but Roman chamomile is part of this, and it improves focus and decreased hyperactivity in teenagers. I have no doubt there are a few parents in the listening to this webinar that are thinking, oh my goodness, how do I use that? And keeping in mind that no essential oil is specific to one age group or one sex or one group of individuals in any capacity or by any definition. Essential oils will help anyone at any time. It's just a matter of recognizing that there are certain studies that are specific to certain age groups or different populations. Melissa oil, oh my goodness, this is another citrus-based oil. It reduces stress without slowing activity level. This came out of the Phytomedicine Research Journal back in 2010, and Melissa oil has been given to me by a number of my different mentors who have all showed me that it's a great way to just putting a little bit at the roof of my mouth before I do a big presentation or something I'm nervous about, flying, for example. It does absolutely reduce my level of stress or how I perceive the level of stress that is associated with whatever that component is. Wild orange reduces anxiousness and increases positivity in dental offices, and we are seeing this across the board in a number of different healthcare facilities. There are a number of different hospitals in the United States who are using essential oils, specifically citrus oils, in both the recovery rooms after and during of surgical rooms, and then also in the emergency rooms. And there was a specific study, and I don't have it listed here, that showed that there was, I think, if I remember correctly, up to an 82% reduction in stress noted with the use of citrus oils in the emergency room by both patients and staff. So it's very cool to see how these citrus oils can make people feel more calm and reduce their stress in clearly a very high stress environment. Lastly, peppermint supports cognitive performance and mood. And I know this right off the bat because if I am unfocused, if I know I need to focus on something, I will diffuse peppermint just to keep me on task and on priority. All right, there's a few different techniques that you can use to support anxiety and any mood disorder, or really any physical disorder as well. The palm inhale, this is where simply when you're being introduced to oils, or perhaps you just have a bottle lying around that you think, gosh, this is gonna be great for me, do 1 drop in your palms, rub them together, cup your hands over your nose and mouth, and continue to inhale deeply. This is incredibly powerful. I think there's something so powerful about having the oil topically on you at the same time as applying it to your, as breathing it in. The bottoms of your feet and the palms of your hands are incredibly sensitive with nerve endings, and so it's just such an incredible way to support yourself emotionally and physically. Using a diffuser, all you need to do is add 2 to 4 drops, and I put in parentheses, if doTERRA. There are a lot of other oil companies out there, and most of them will say 10 to 15 drops of essential oil, which is just simply crazy. There's no need to have to use that many drops in your diffusers. 2 to 4 drops when you're using doTERRA is enough because they're so potent and so pure. Usually an essential oil, well, I would say it would have to be, if an essential oil company is saying use 10 to 15 drops, it's because they just don't have the same level of purity that doTERRA has. So you add them to your diffuser, fill it with water, and let it run next to your desk or bedside. This is one of my favorite ways. We have literally a diffuser in every room of our home, including our bathrooms, because they're little plug-in diffusers to deal with certain aromas in there. But every bedroom has one. Each room that we sit in as a family has one. So we can just simply fill up the diffuser, add our oils of choice, and let them take over the room when we're in there. Mists, you can add oils and water to, that should be misting bottles. Spritz into the air as needed. This is great. Physically, you can use it for lice. You can use it for a number of different ways to make a great aroma in a room. You can mist the pillows of your kids before you go to bed, or your pillow as you go to bed. It's just a great way to, again, change the energy and emotions within a room. And lastly, on the skin, applying topically oils to the bottom of your feet, the back of your neck. They absorb readily into the skin, palms of your hand as well. And add carrier oil to dilute for sensitive skin. This is one of the big things that when people are getting started with essential oils, specifically with, again, doTERRA, you receive a guide, meaning myself or whoever invited you to this webinar, because by getting that guide, they are going to walk you through exactly how to use oils. There are certain oils that are hot and spicy and really sensitive to skin. So if you're not aware of how to use those oils properly through the use of dilution, or for example, maybe the oils that work on your skin should not be applied topically to kids without diluting. So we walk you through that. We guide you through that. We give you all the education and the information you need in order to use these oils properly, and so that you feel supported through it and not like you're just taking home some oil bottles and thinking, oh gosh, I don't know how to use these. So we talk to you about dilution and how you can use these oils well, safely, and effectively with you and your family. All right, let's talk about, for those of you who are interested now, perhaps we've kind of piqued your interest and you're thinking, gosh, I'd love to get these oils into my home. Many of you on this webinar, I know, already have these essential oils in your home. And so I'm hoping that you, maybe if you didn't know how to use them or what oils that you could use, perhaps you're now looking and saying, gosh, I want to add one of these or many of these oils to your stash or your collection. That's amazing, and I'm thrilled. I really hope that you found this helpful. For those of you who are brand new to doTERRA, it's a membership-based service. Basically, kind of like Costco, you pay a membership for the year, and it affords you certain benefits. For example, with doTERRA, it's $42 for the year. In Canada, it's $35 if you're out of the States. And you receive 25% off all the products that doTERRA has to offer. There are other benefits as well. You can choose if you want to order oils regularly, and if you do, you can earn points back towards getting free oils. There are often member benefits like a free product of the month every month if you order a certain amount. So there's lots of benefits to having a doTERRA membership. But if you look at a starter kit, that $42, that membership is waived. So you don't have to get the starter kit and add the membership on top. That membership is already included in the starter kit price. And what I did here was pull 3 of my favorite essential oil kits, starter kits, that you guys can look at because yes, they support you physically. There are some emotional health benefits as well. So the Home Essentials Kit is the largest of the 3. It is the top 10 most popular essential oils in 250 drop bottles or 15 ml bottles of lemon, lavender, peppermint, melaleuca, frankincense, oregano, easy air, which is for breathing, on guard, which is for immune support, deep blue, which is for your muscle and joints, and Zengest, which is for your digestive blend. Plus you get the petal diffuser. What I love about this month, if you're looking at this during July of 2018, if you get the Home Essentials Kit, you also get a free 250 drop bottle of Copaiba and Wild Orange. So you're getting both of them, which I just think is amazing. So really you're not getting 10 oils, you're getting 12 oils plus your diffuser for just $330. If you're looking at the Family Essentials Kit, this is the exact same kit as the Home Essentials in smaller bottles. So you're only getting 85 drops of those 10 most popular oils. And no, you don't get a diffuser, but you do get the peppermint and On Guard beadlets, which are a great way to support your health on a day-to-day basis. And that kit is $185. You would only get the free Wild Orange in this case. And then lastly, the Aroma Touch Diffuse Kit. These are 8 amazing oils, again in the smaller bottles with 85 drops. You get Wild Orange, lavender, peppermint, melaleuca, On Guard, immune support, deep blue, muscle and joint support, Aroma Touch, which is a massage blend, and Balance, which is a mood oil. And you get the petal diffuser and some fractionated coconut oil, which is the carrier oil that we use to dilute. With this one, you would also get a 250 drop bottle of Wild Orange. Now, there's also an emotional aromatherapy kit, and there are 6 oils in this kit, all the 5 ml bottles. It comes with a petal diffuser. You do get the Peace essential oil, but then you get 5 other oils that are supportive of your health and your emotional health. They are Passion, Forgive, Peace. I always forget these. Passion, Forgive, Peace, Motivate, and Cheer. And yes, okay, so those are the 6 oils that you would get with those. And Console, excuse me, Console. So I forgot that one. Anyway, so there are 6 emotional aromatherapy oils. Because this is specific to emotional oils with respect to, essential oils with respect to anxiousness or anxiety, I wanted to focus in on the kits that had more of the oils specific to emotions, even though, specific to anxiety, excuse me, even though the emotional aromatherapy oil is blend kit is amazing and there's 6 oils and it's certainly something to look at. I do feel that the Home Essentials, the Family Essentials, and the Aroma Touch give you more of a balanced approach to how you can utilize them in your day-to-day life with both physical and emotional support. So that's it. I hope this was helpful. I hope you all enjoyed. By all means, if you have any questions, the next step for you is simply to connect in with the individual who gave you the link to this webinar. If it's me, I would love to talk with you. You can find me on my website, drandrearyan.com, or you can email me at drandrearyan@gmail.com, and I'm happy to walk you through how to use those. So the Dr. Andrea Ryan is just Dr. and then my name, AndreaRyan.com, or email again, drandrearyan@gmail.com. But yeah, connect in with whoever introduced you to this webinar and have that opportunity to talk to them about what your needs are, what you're thinking about in terms of getting started with essential oils, and they will be able to help you place that first order. And if it is during the month of July, you do get those free 1 or 2 bottles of Copaiba or Wild Orange, and both if you get the Home Essentials by the end of this month. I hope that was helpful. I enjoyed speaking with you all, and I look forward to talking to you soon. Take care now.